Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking ovulation tests, do's, and don'ts. If you want to keep up with our TTC journey, then don't forget to hit that red subscribe button down below, and also you can follow me on Instagram. I'll leave my handle right here and keep up with us on a daily basis. But yes, if you are currently TTC 2, please let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you also feel completely overwhelmed by all the ovulation tests and pregnancy tests every single month. It can be a lot. So I thought that this video might be helpful to break down a few things that you should do when it comes to ovulation tests, a few things that you definitely shouldn't do. And if you have anything to add, or if there's anything that I missed, definitely leave it down in the comments below. First thing you should do is read your test results within the specified time frame. So I'm kind of guilty of this. I will multitask, as a lot of moms do. I'll do something and think, okay, I'll come back to it in 5-10 minutes and it'll be fine. And I completely forget. And I did this one time when I was testing for ovulation. I took the test and I thought, okay, I'm not just gonna sit here for 3 to 5 minutes, which is what my tests specified, that you could read the results after 3 to 5 minutes. And I thought, okay, I won't set a timer on my phone. I'm just gonna go, I'll fold the laundry, it'll be fine. Completely forgot and came back 30 minutes later. Of course, at that point, the test isn't valid anymore. So make sure that you check the directions of your specific test when you're supposed to read the results. For me, I use the Easy at Home strip ovulation test. They're super cheap. I get them on Amazon. I will link them down below. But for those tests, you're supposed to read the results 3 to 5 minutes after taking the test. Don't for ovulation tests is don't test first thing in the morning. And this is a really big one because for pregnancy tests, you have the highest amount of detectable HCG in your urine first thing in the morning. And that's why, especially if you're on any TTC message boards, you'll see the FMU acronym running around. Like the first morning urine is huge in this community. But for ovulation tests, you actually get more LH detection in your urine in the afternoon and evening times. Speaking of afternoon and evening, something that you do want to do is to test in the afternoon and evening. So a lot of tests will recommend actually testing twice a day, because for some women, that LH surge window, so the time in which you are experiencing that LH surge, indicating that you are going to ovulate 24 to 48 hours afterward, is very short. And so testing twice a day is a really nice way of making sure that you don't miss that LH surge window. So the next one's a big one. Don't read your ovulation test as a positive if your test line is fainter or lighter than your control line. So again, in comparison to pregnancy tests, when you get a really faint test line in comparison to that very dark stable control line, it means you're pregnant, right? It's the most exciting thing. I'm sure some of you have watched those videos where you've seen other women get really faint lines and it means that they're pregnant. However, with an ovulation test, your test line has to be as dark, if not darker, than your control line for it to be a positive test. And that's a mistake that I made, especially in the beginning, was reading my ovulation tests as positive when I saw the faintest of lines. Always have a small amount of LH present in your urine, and it's not until you have that surge, it's not until your test line and control line are as dark as one another that you are actually going to experience ovulation. So hope that made sense, but it's super important when deciphering your ovulation tests. Do start testing before your LH surge. So to accurately pinpoint when your LH surge is, recommended to start testing a few days before you think you are ovulating. So if you're brand new to tracking your ovulation, I do recommend joining some sort of tracking app, period tracking app, fertility tracking app. I love Ovia, but there are so many out there. There's Glow, Clue, I think there's one called Kindara. There's so many, and there's so many wonderful support systems built into those apps. But when you are testing for ovulation, it's really, like I mentioned before, easy to miss that very small window. So what I like to do is the day after my period is done, I'll start testing for ovulation. Obviously, those first few days right after my period is done, I'll get really light test lines. But then I can see, and I made an ovulation test progressions video, and I will link that down below. But then I can start to see the test line getting darker and darker until eventually it is as dark as the control line. And then I know that my LH surge is happening and I'm going to be ovulating in the next 12 to 48 hours-ish. Don't use your test more than once. This sounds like a bit of an obvious one, but it is something just to put out there. You cannot use your ovulation tests more than once, and I don't know of any brands that work any differently. Do baby dance or be intimate with your partner 12 to 48 hours after you get your positive ovulation tests. So your positive ovulation test is indicating that LH surge, which means that your ovary is going to release that egg in the next 12 to 24 hours. Everyone's a little bit different. So just to be safe, I would say start baby dancing right away. And if you're able to, baby dance from the time that you get your positive ovulation test and the day after, and just to be safe, the day after that too. The last don't test at different times every day. Don't test one day at 10 a.m. and the next day at 2 p.m., the next day at 5 p.m., the next day at 1 p.m. It's recommended when you are testing for ovulation that you test at the same time every day, and that ideally, again, you're testing in the afternoon/evening times and not first thing in the morning. Last do limit your fluid intake about 2 hours before you take your ovulation test. This is because if you drink too many fluids right before you take your ovulation test, it can dilute the LH in your urine, and then it can obviously give you a false positive or a false negative. Again, this was something that I didn't realize and didn't know, and it's very different than when you're testing for pregnancy, because when you're testing for pregnancy, it's almost like I'm gonna drink a lot of water so that I have to go to the bathroom. But with ovulation tests, you wanna make sure that you are not drinking a lot of water or fluids right before you take your test, because you don't want those fluids to dilute the LH in your urine. So just be aware 2 hours before you wanna test, just limit how much water you're drinking. Those are all of my do's and don'ts for ovulation tests. Again, if there's anything that I missed or there's anything that you want to add, definitely leave it down in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.